chairperson of the 3rd Legislative District, Irma Mitchell, Steve Banner, I know he was on the committee as well, Randy Ashby, to the delegates here this evening, our elected officials. On behalf of this convention, I accept your nomination to be the Democratic candidate for the 3rd Legislative. I want you to know that I am proud to be the Democratic candidate. I am proud of this party, and the reason I'm proud of this party is because this party, I believe, represents the backbone of this country, and that is the middle class and the working families of this country. I want to thank those who made such kind comments about me earlier, Senator Puckett, Rebecca, Norman, Tom, Steve. Thank you so much for those comments. Again, I really appreciate it. I want to thank some other folks right now. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the 2 most important people in my life. They're sitting right here on the front row. That's my wife, Anita, and my son, Greg. The reason they need a big round of applause, I mean, they were willing to make some sacrifices too. I've had to make some sacrifices, but more importantly, they both gave me the green light to go ahead and do this, and I really appreciate them doing that. I want to thank my mother sitting back there. I know she was not really excited about this initially, but thanks to Rebecca, she sort of changed her mind and came around, so I appreciate her too. And I want to thank a lot of the folks that encouraged me to get into this race. Irma encouraged me, Tom Brewster encouraged me to get into it. I appreciate them. I want to especially thank certain members of the United Mine Workers, and I want to thank the coal miners that have gotten behind me early in this campaign. I appreciate your efforts so far. What I want to talk about right now, despite of what a lot of people may say in this country, I believe that we're at a crossroads right now in this country. I turned on the television before I drove over here this evening, and all we could hear on the news was about what's going on in Washington. Our nation is on the verge of defaulting on their debt, and that really bothers me at times. There's a lot of people in this country right now telling us that there's things we can no longer afford. We have people telling us that we can no longer afford Medicare. There's people that tell us that we can no longer afford to educate our children. And they're telling us that we have to make sacrifices, and they're asking that we make sacrifices among what I consider to be the most vulnerable in our society, and that's our seniors and that's our kids. Our kids deserve a quality education. They deserve a quality future, and we need to protect those kids. But we also need to protect very important things in our society like Medicare. By now, you've seen a lot of my campaign material here that says our jobs and our values, and let me just speak briefly about what I mean by that. One of the reasons, I know folks encouraged me to get into this race, but I sort of got into this race for a selfish reason, and the selfish reason I got into the race was my child down here. My child deserves a quality education, and he deserves a good quality of life. I consider myself fortunate in that I was able to move away from here, go to college, but I was able to return, and I've been able to make my living in my hometown. I live about a mile from where I grew up, and as most of you know, there's many of our family and friends that haven't been able to do that over the years. They had to move away to find good paying jobs. Over the past few years, I've spent a lot of time coaching Little League sports, and I've gotten to know my son's friends and a lot of his buddies, and I would like to see those kids, if they want to live and reside in the 3rd Legislative District, I want them to have as many opportunities as they can, and what I mean by opportunities is good paying jobs with benefits. And that's one of the primary reasons I got into this race. So how do we provide opportunities and good paying jobs for our kids? Well, the first thing we got to do, we have to protect our coal mining related jobs and our natural gas related jobs. And I know over the next few weeks or the next months, you're going to hear people say that Vern Presley is not a supporter of the coal mining industry. I want you to know that that is not true. I was born and raised in Buchanan County. Buchanan County, you might even say, is the heart of the coal-producing counties of Southwest Virginia. I am a supporter of the coal industry. I realize all too well that our coal mining related jobs and our natural gas related jobs provide good paying jobs with benefits for our citizens, and we need to protect those jobs. As Norman alluded to a little bit earlier, during my 19 years of practicing law, I have represented several governmental agencies, and two of those have been economic development authorities. And I have been a part of basic job creation, encouraging businesses to locate and remain here in Virginia. And what I'd like to do, I would like to work with each and every Board of Supervisors, Town Council, and Economic Development Authority here in the 3rd Legislative District. We have so much potential here in the 3rd Legislative District. Looking up here at Bluestone, near Bluefield, we have industrial parks at Bluefield, we have Southern Gap, we have great potential over in Blaine County. And I want to lend what expertise I have in trying to land jobs for those industrial parks. And let me just say, there was a gentleman for 2 decades had a program here in Southwest Virginia called Showcasing Southwest Virginia. If you remember, Congressman Boucher had a program where he tried to showcase Southwest Virginia to try to recruit businesses to come here and stay. Well, I can tell you that we have heard most of our life that imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. Well, I'll tell you what I want to do. I'm going to kind of rip off something that Congressman Boucher had, and I want to showcase the 3rd Legislative District, and I want to launch a similar program. As I said, we have so much potential here in the 4 counties that make up the 3rd Legislative District, and I want to do something to try to showcase that and let people know. But of course, our most important asset are the people, the hardworking people of this district, and I want to showcase that. We need to upgrade our secondary roads in this district because that's so important to economic development. And as Norman already pointed out, we have to improve our infrastructure in this entire country, but we also have to do it here in the 3rd Legislative District. One of the things we have to do, we have to finish the Coalfields Expressway. That will be a priority for me. But the bottom line is this: if we create jobs, if we protect our coal mining jobs, our natural gas-related jobs, and try to bring other industries in here, we are creating more jobs and more opportunities so our kids, like my son and some of his friends, one of which I see here this evening, can stay in this district, because as parents, I mean, we would like nothing more for our kids to grow up and remain in their own communities. But let me just touch real quick what I mean by values. When you see this values on some of their campaign material, I want to protect and promote what I call middle class or working family values. And let me just say, no nation or no economy is ever judged or measured based upon those at the very top, and we don't measure a nation or an economy about how poorly those are doing at the bottom. We always look at the middle. We always look at the middle class. Any economy that's doing well is an economy that has a thriving middle class. And we have to protect the middle class in this country. As we know, the middle class primarily carries the tax burden. We basically carry this country along. And it seems like every time we need to cut budgets, whether it be at the state or national level, we always go after programs that affect the middle class. And I want to protect the middle class. And let me just say, when Medicare is under attack, the middle class is under attack. When education funding is cut, the middle class is under attack. When states restrict the rights of workers to organize and collectively bargain, the middle class is definitely under attack. When the average working family doesn't get the same tax break as those at the very top, I can tell you the middle class is definitely under attack. What I want to do is I pledge to protect the middle class. Any decision I make, I'm going to consider how it affects the average family, the middle class, or what I call working families. So what are those values that we need to attack? First of all, we need to again, protect the most vulnerable in our society. The most vulnerable tend to be our seniors and our children. We need to protect programs for our seniors and our children. I want you to know that I will be a very loud and vocal voice, even though I may be in Richmond. I will be a very loud and vocal voice to tell the folks in Washington to leave Medicare alone.